relationship? What are my triggers? Do I have a system in place to control those triggers when I encounter them? What are my viewpoints when it comes to dating and relationships? Are they skewed by some of my past experiences? And if so, am I aware of that? And am I working to remove those biases? What ill feelings do I have about the people that I choose to date? Am I projecting negative emotions about those people or any group of people when I'm talking about dating and relationships? Are the things that I say on social media aligning with the way that I move in real life? Am I as good of a person as I think I am? Am I pointing?
Most likely no. Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. Today we are with Tanisha Talks. The Curious Case of the Red Pill. Dating content is a joke. Now, she's got, let's see, this says going 50-50, and she got some other topics in here. The hypocrite, make him a sandwich. Oh, yeah, we're going to go through a whole bunch of YouTube talking points. I just got a feeling here. But let's go ahead and hit the button and see what we got.
50, who brings what to the table, high value, low value, masculine, feminine. If you are tired of hopping on social media and hearing about these same topics day in and day out, you are not alone. The ironic thing is that most of the people who are on these platforms talking about relationships are single. Me too, hey. And I'm fully...
Wow. You know what? She's right. And this is where you got to use some discernment, okay? I'm not a big fan of RP content. You know, you can't tell if that word is, if that, y'all know what I'm talking about, but I can't, supposedly you start saying that, the YouTube algorithm, you know, registers you as, you know, it's fine. When people start talking about relationships, I don't have if single people want to talk about dating, I don't have a problem with that. I think the issue comes in is, what are your goals? You on the other side of the camera watching me. So I'm pro-marriage, right? So if you're not pro-marriage, this channel's probably not going to be, it's probably not going to make a lot of sense to you. I mean, hey, I welcome the views, guys, I'm not going to turn it down, but you're probably not going to like the content overall. So I think what needs to happen is you got to start paying attention to who's got the outcomes that you're looking for. Because I agree with her. There's a lot of dating coaches out here, and it's like, okay, that's fine if you are looking to just date. I think, but on this channel, I think dating is dumb. So, yeah.
Aware that you can be a single person who provides great insight and perspective when it comes to relationships. But here's the thing. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I do think that when it comes to the dating and relationship space, if we are coming from the aspect of trying to build healthy relationships and create healthy family dynamics, then I think that a lot of the people who are single and bringing up these topics that are great for a debate, great for entertaining content, but not really conducive or productive to bringing people together, we all need to be sitting on the sidelines and allowing people who might be more family oriented, marriage minded, and have shown that they have experience in these areas to step forward and lead the pack, okay?
So there's one thing that she skipped over. She mentioned it, but you got insightful topics. But the other thing is that you got to recognize is that, okay, are you just doing this for the views? Is that why you keep bringing this stuff up? These topics are you perpetuating the gender war? Because there's a lot of successful channels out there that do that. They claim to be dating podcasts or relationship podcasts, and all they're doing is inciting the gender war every episode. And we tuning in to watch, see who the next to get kicked off the island is. But it's like, okay, what's the real goal? Is it actually to help people get together, or is it just for us to? Is this the new version of reality TV we watching? And we just looking for the next gotcha moment? Something to think about, right?
Okay, I think we might need to stay in our own lanes. I realized that I talked a lot about relationships, and I love talking about relationships, and I'm very passionate about people having healthy relationships, right? But it was kind of like an eternal conflict for me because I'm out here giving my input on relationships with other people, and meanwhile I'm struggling with the most important relationship that anyone can ever have, and that is the relationship with yourself. In order for us to have any form of a successful relationship, we really need to be comfortable with the person that we see when we look in the mirror. Our spirit has to be right. We have to be content within ourselves, because if we're not, those negative feelings that we have about ourselves, that often gets projected onto other people. And that's when the relationship issues come into play. I don't think that it's realistic for myself, or for any creator for that matter, to say that they have a platform that is dedicated to improving relationship dynamics, but not emphasize the importance of being secure within yourself, pointing out the flaws in other people, asking people what they bring to the table when we haven't even figured out if we are approaching the table from a space of abundance or a space of lack. You guys may have seen the video that went viral within the past week or so, where there was this hypothetical situation where if a husband comes home from a long day of work, it's 2-3 o'clock in the morning, should he be able to tap his wife and say, "Hey, I'm hungry, make me something to eat"? And it was comical to me that there was so much back and forth dialogue on this topic, because in reality, how many times are we going to see a situation where a man is coming home at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and he needs to tap his spouse and say, "Make me something to eat right now"? These are not arguments or conversations that...
Yeah, I agree. And you know, want to know another overused example? If somebody breaks into the house in the middle of the night, what kind of neighborhood are y'all living in where that is happening? I mean, I get it. The man's supposed to be protector and all this other stuff. Okay, but aside from protecting your family from mortal danger, I mean, it's from somebody trying to kill him, because that doesn't happen that often. I think that is a cheap way out as far as defining the roles of a man in a relationship. Because if that's the only thing, is that the man is supposed to be willing to die for his family, yeah, I agree with that. But those are the only things that a man is good for, is being there to protect a woman, if her life is in danger. How often does that happen? I think we're letting a lot of guys off the hook as far as their roles in relationships, if that's the prime example that we're using. As far as the sandwich thing, or make me something to eat, you know what? I'll agree under the circumstance that woman has barely any other value in the relationship. The bigger question is that if that's her role in your relationship, why would you marry a woman who has that little value? She's just an on-demand chef for you. Well, what else? Is that it? Because that presents problems in itself. Okay, if that's your marriage, then obviously you guys have found a way to make it work, and that provides balance. I don't think that's what most marriages are like, though, because again, and I'm speaking from, this is not the norm, because again, I'm a black man. Marriage is not popular in our community. 30% marriage rate, but most married men I know, I do have met. I know a lot of married people. Most married men I know, they come in at 3 a.m. They're not trying to wake their wife up. They'll go eat they're gonna make a sandwich. They go eat some cereal or something like that. They're not trying to wake their wife up just to go cook. Why? Because your wife is tired. That's obviously why she went to sleep. Why are you coming home at 3 a.m. is another question. Most of the time you're getting off work, but most guys that are getting home at 3 a.m, they're not trying to wake anybody else up. They're going to do something to vibe out, to relax. And you waking somebody else up in the house usually takes away from that. That's why I say that's not the realistic. I mean, that sounds like, you know what? Let me leave it alone.
People who are actually in healthy marriages or relationships are having. What are we even talking about? Why are we having these trivial conversations about situations that we probably won't ever be in, or situations that really don't matter when it comes to the longevity of a relationship, but we put so much energy into talking about these things versus talking about the things that really matter. And it also reiterates why so many people are single and struggling, because the conversations that we're having are very focused on self. This idea that I came in from work, I'm hungry, I'm fully able to make food for myself, and I know that you might be tired and you could have had your own day, but I need you to go and make me some fresh food right now. Like, what the, who does that? Quite honestly, I think all of this serves as a distraction so that we don't have to look in the mirror and really face the things that we need to work on within ourselves that might make us a more desirable person if we do seek to be in a relationship. What are my triggers? Do I have a system in place to control those triggers when I encounter them? What are my viewpoints when it comes to dating and relationships? Are they skewed by some of my past experiences? And if so, am I aware of that? And am I working to remove those biases? What ill feelings do I have about the people that I choose to date? Am I projecting negative emotions about those people or any group of people when I'm talking about dating and relationships? Are the things that I say on social media aligning with the way that I move in real life? Am I as good of a person as I think I am? Am I pointing?
Most likely, no. Hey, you know what? Well, this section is social media. I have some thoughts about that, but I want her to finish up first.
The undesirable characteristics in other people to make me feel better about myself. I say all.
Okay, well, is this a conclusion?
All of that to say that I realized that the direction that my content was going in,
Okay, all right. So my thoughts on social media. Number one, social media gets a lot of blame for, being bad for relationships. There are two things here we need to address. The first one is, who is the ultimate consumer of social media, men or women? I can only think of one platform that's male dominated, and that's here on YouTube. The rest of the platforms are dominated by women. So who consumes the most social media? That's the first point. The second point is that I don't think social media is inherently as evil as people are making it out to be. Number one, because it's a part of life. It's not going anywhere. I think we have seen a lot of people who are misusing it. And I'm questioning whether or not that's just a lack of understanding of how powerful it is. I think that going forward, we need to have more respect for it. And ultimately, I think that we'll start because again, this is social media right here. You guys are watching me. YouTube is a social media platform. So I think we've people have been misusing it too much. This is also how we got, so many negative stereotypes about each community, about men and women. Well, the only way to turn that around, the quickest way to turn that around is to create a platform that's going to, demystify all these, these negative stereotypes that, frankly, a lot of them are just not true. So social media is a great way to improve on a group of people's image. You have an image problem, as Black women do. Well, one of the things that you're going to have to start doing, ladies, is putting out the content that has data and statistics that disprove the negative stereotypes that are not true. So, social media, bad thing? No, I just think we need to figure out better ways of using it. One important way that I don't know why we haven't talked about yet, escaping the matrix, it may come up here, is the fact that it goes along with what we were talking about before. It's like, who are you following? If you're saying you want to be married, okay, is the majority of the channels that you're subscribed to, are they married people? Probably not, because in our community, in the Black community, I've said this before, we need more married people making content so that, what am I trying to say here? You need more examples of relationships working. Plain and simple. And I know this works because in real life, most married people tend to stick to themselves because we don't have time for single people problems. That's what it is. Now, like I said, if you are single and you are looking to get married, well, you should be trying to hang out with married people. The issue with that is that married people don't necessarily like hanging around single people. So you are going to get limited access. But understand that can make all the difference in the world. Just saying.
This dating and relationship space that I found myself in accidentally. It's something that I feel isn't really serving me anymore. I think that God has called me to use my platform and use my voice for a bigger purpose. And this is no shade to anyone who talks about dating and relationships, because I might still talk about those things, but I'm just saying that my channel isn't going to be focused on that as heavily, because I think that in the season that I'm in, it's all about taking the things that I've learned about myself since I've been single and really just doing a lot of introspection and figuring out how to heal those things versus kind of sulking and hating the fact that I have all these things that I need to work on. I actually want to do the work and become a better person. And I know that when I do that, I will attract better people, and that can be platonic or romantic. But the work is internal, and a lot of people.
You know what? I'm going to agree, and we're going to end the, I'm not going to go any further because I think she's making a lot of sense here. A wise man once said in this is a seminar that was devoted towards, coaching men. He said, life happens out there. Well, out there, right? You can't see me pointing off screen, but it happens out there, not online. At some point, you're going to have to log out and go live your life, because the chances of most of us have goals that we would like to accomplish. Unless you're a content creator, most of those goals are going to happen outside. And that's where you need to live life at. So I agree with her is that, what she's saying is that she finds it, I think she's getting to the point in her life where it's enough research and it's enough, it's enough time learning and researching. It's time to start applying things to real life. I'd say that's a good self-assessment. And as far as relationships goes, at least that's what I think she's saying, is that, it's time to put all these theories and all this other stuff. It's time to put it to the test and, start making improvements on the things that are going to help benefit me. And I get it. But that's also why we're going to stop it here, because going forward, escaping the matrix, you can equate that to, trying to apply the things that you've learned to your life and see if you're going to get better results. As far as the title go, dating content is a joke. I agree. Because, I think, like I've told y'all this before, I think dating is dumb. But I'm pro-marriage. I'm marriage-minded. To me, dating never made much sense. A lot of times people will say dating, the whole purpose of dating is to get to know somebody. But you can get to know somebody over the phone. Personal opinion, before I got married, my thing was I'm going to get to know you first before I start taking you anywhere. Because I got an image to maintain, and I don't need you screwing that up. I don't trust you. We get to know each other, then I'll trust you. Then we can go hang out. But I can't tell you how many times that I've talked to women over the phone, and it's like, oh, God, no, we can't hang out. And I say that to myself. I'm not going to say that to them. But, yeah, I will start to have less and less conversation with those women and move on to somebody else. So, I think that a lot of women could benefit from that type of strategy where you actually get to know the guy before you start hanging out with him, because then there's less obligations, But guys, this is a great conversation. Definitely high level. She did some critical thinking on this one. So shout out to her. Like I said, guys, go subscribe to Tanisha Talks. Definitely high level conversations here. I'm going to say goes to the next time. Peace.